Good day, class. Today we will be having our new topic. But before we proceed on that, let me ask you this. Why are laws and rules important in the school and community? What do you think? That's right. It is truly important that there are laws and rules in school and community for us to have peace and order. But what do you think will happen if people disregard the laws? That's right. Those people who disregarded the laws and rules may face different struggles in life. Okay? That's why it is important for us to follow the rules and laws of the school, even the community. So, for this session, we will talk about the laws of exponents for multiplication. This topic is important for you to simplify algebraic expressions with exponents. Okay, so you have to be familiar with the following laws of exponents. So for our objective, let's have number one, discover the laws of exponents for multiplication. Number two, state the laws of exponents for multiplication. And number three, you have to multiply monomials and polynomials. So before we go to the laws of exponent, let's have the exponential form. You have to know that there is what we call an exponential form. When we say exponential form, from the word exponent, it means that in an algebraic expression, there is an exponent in it. Okay? That's why it is called exponential form. Like for example, so we have x raised to the fifth power. Okay, so we all know that it is an algebraic expression because of the variable x. Then it is exponential or in exponential form because we have here this script. Okay, so this is called superscript or the exponent. So that value, that 5 is the exponent, and this x would be the base. Okay, so this is an example of exponential form or algebraic expression in exponential form. We have the base and we have the exponent. Anything with exponent is in exponential form. Okay, like 5 squared, that is in exponential form. We have 3 cubed, 7 raised to the fifth power, 3 raised to n, m raised to 7 power. Okay, those are example of algebraic expression in exponential form. So the exponent is a short way of writing how many times the base is multiplied by itself. So this x raised to the fifth power means you multiply x 5 times by itself. And that is x times x times x times x times x. Okay? Or simply just write x raised to the fifth power. Okay? Now let's proceed to the laws of exponent. So our first law, let's have this example. As you can see, we have letter A, 3 squared, then times 3 cubed. Okay? So this symbol dot means times. Okay? So 3 squared times 3 cubed, then letter B, m cubed times m to the fourth power, and letter C, 4 to the fifth power times 4 squared. Okay, if we simplify them, we have letter A, that is 3 raised to the fifth power. Okay, as you can see, what happened to 3 squared and 3 cubed? So it will become 3 to the 5th power. Next, we have m to the 7th power. Then letter C is 4 to the 7th power. As you can see, there is something in there, or there is something in on the expression for us to have these answers. Okay, so now let's talk about the first law, which is the law for products. Okay, so for this law, take note law for products because there is multiplication as operation, like 3 squared times 3 cubed, right? There is multiplication as operation, as well as letter B, multiplication, and letter C, multiplication. So law for products, which just states that you have to add the exponent with the same base, okay? If the operation is multiplication, like this one, a raised to m times a raised to n. So we have here multiplication. What are you going to do is to add the exponent of the same base. Okay? So as you can see, we have here to the base a, to the base a. So we have the same base. What are you going to do to find the answer is you have to add their exponents. Okay? So the exponent of the first base a is m plus the exponent of the second base a, which is n. So our answer is a, which is the base raised to m plus n. We just have to add their exponents. Like for our letter A, as you can see, we have 3 as our base. Okay, so to the base 3 and to the base 3. Therefore, our base on our answer is 3. Then, since they have the same base, what are you going to do is to add the exponents. So 2 plus 3 is 5. That's why our answer is 3 raised to 5. Then letter B, we have m to the base m to the base m. So copy m. Then look at the exponent. We have 3 or cube. Then 4. So 3 plus 4 is 7. Therefore, let's put 7 as the exponent on our answer. So our answer is m raised to 7 or m raised to the 7th power. Then letter C, copy 4 since they have the same base as 4. So here we have 4. Then add the exponents. So we have 5 plus 2 is 7. So our answer is 4 raised to 7. Now, let's try the following. Number 1, 2 times 2 raised to the 4th power. Okay, what are you going to do is to copy the base. We have 2, then add the exponent. As you can see, the exponent of the first expression is not visible, but you have to take note that it is automatically 1. Okay? When there is no visible exponent, automatic, that is 1. Okay? This 2 means in exponential form that is 2 raised to 1. Okay? 2 raised to 1 or simply 2. So the exponent of this 2 is 1. So 1 plus the exponent of this 2 is 4. So 1 plus 4 is 5. That's why we have 2 raised to 5. Then when you simplified it, the answer is 32. Why 32? Because 2 raised to 5 means 2 times 2, that is 4, times 2, that is 8, times 2, that is 16, and times 2, that is 32. Okay? We multiplied 2 by itself 5 times. Okay? Number 2, we have b raised to 5 times b raised to 10. Okay, copy the base b, then add the exponent. 5 plus 10 is 15. Okay, the answer is b raised to 15. Okay, we cannot simplify that because the base is a variable. Okay, so that is our final answer. That is for the law for products. Okay, what are you going to do is to add the exponents or copy the base and add the exponents. Okay, for the next law, let's take a look at this. As you can see, we have outer exponent. Okay, we have exponent outside the parentheses. What are you going to do if you face or if you encounter this problem? So letter A, 2 squared cube. Then the quantity of m cube cube. Then the quantity of 7 cube squared. Okay? So what are you going to do? As you can see, the answer for letter A is 2 raised to the 6th power. On the other hand, for letter B, we have m to the 9th power. And for letter C, we have 7 to the 6th power. Okay, so for our second law, we have the law for power of a power. Okay, power of a power because we have exponent inside the parentheses and exponent outside the parentheses. That's why it is called power of a power. So in this case, for you to solve it, what are you going to do is to multiply that outer power to the exponents inside the parentheses. Okay? So every exponent inside the parentheses should be multiplied by the outside exponent. Okay, as you can see, we have here 3 as the outside exponent or the power outside the parentheses. You have to multiply it to the exponent inside the parentheses. So 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, copy the base 2. Then we have 6. Here, copy the base m. Then multiply. 3 times 3 is 9. Letter C, copy the base 7. Then 2 times 3 is 6. That's why we have these answers. Okay, you have to multiply the exponent outside the parentheses to the exponents inside the parentheses. So let's try the following. 3 squared, then squared. Okay, as I said, you have to multiply the outside exponent to the exponent inside the parentheses. So copy the base, we have 3, then multiply 2 times 2. Okay, and the answer is 3 raised to 4. Okay, so 3 raised to 4, that is equal to 81. Okay, 3 times 3, 9 times 3, 27 times 3 is 81. Then number 2, we have x raised to the 10th power, then raised to the 5th power. Or simply, the quantity of x raised to the 10th power to the 5th. Okay, so here you have to multiply the exponents, then copy the base, or copy the base, then multiply the exponents. We have x, then 10 times 5 is 50. That's why we have this answer as x raised to the 50th power. Okay, again, for law for power of a power, you have to multiply the exponents. Okay, multiply the exponents. Next law, we have law for power of a product. Okay, on the previous law, there is no operation inside the parentheses. On the other hand, for this law, law for power of a product, there is an operation inside the parentheses, which is the multiplication because of product. And there is also power outside the parentheses. Okay, so in this case, what are you going to do is to, as you can see, a times b raised to n. So it will become a raised to n, b raised to n. So what are you going to do is to multiply the exponent outside the parentheses to every exponent inside the parentheses. Okay? As you can see, the exponent of a is 1 because there is no visible exponent. And the exponent of b is also 1 because no, there is no visible exponent. So n times 1 is n. That's why we have a raised to n. Then n times 1 is also n. That's why we have b raised to n. Take a look at these examples. We have a squared times b cubed squared. Okay? So what are you going to do is to multiply the outside exponent to the exponents inside the parentheses. So we have, uh, let's have the exponent of a. So 2 times 2 is 4. That's why a raised to 4. Okay? Copy the base a, then 4. Now copy the base b, then multiply 2 times 3. Okay? The exponent outside the parentheses times the exponent of b. So that is 6. Okay? That's why we have here b raised to 6. Okay? We cannot simplify a raised to 4 and b raised to 6 because the bases are variables. Okay? So this will be our final answer. Next, as you can see, we have here 3 times m cubed times n to the fourth power cubed. Okay, what are you going to do is to multiply that 3 or that exponent outside the parentheses. And we all know that the exponent of 3 is 1 because there is no visible exponent for it. Okay, so 3 raised to 1. So copy the base 3, then multiply 3 times 1 is 3. That's why the exponent now of 3 is cube. Okay? Now, for the exponent of m, copy the base m, then 3 times 3 is 9. That's why we have m raised to 9 power. Next, let's have the exponent of n. So copy the base n, then 3 times 4 is 12. That's why we have n raised to 12. Okay, this will be our answer, but the final answer here is you have to simplify 3 cube, and that is 27. Okay, so 27 m raised to the 9th power times n raised to 12 power. Then for letter C, let's do the same process. So copy C, then the exponent of C, we have 2 times 4 is 8. That's why we have C raised to 8. Then copy D, then 2 times 3 is 6. That's why we have D raised to 6. And our answer is C raised to 8 times D raised to 6. Okay, now let's try the following. Let's have 2 times m cubed squared. So copy the base 2, then multiply 2 times 1 because the exponent of 2 is 1. 2 times 1 is 2. That's why we have 2 squared. Then copy the base m, then multiply 2 times 3 is 6. That's why we have m raised to 6. Okay, then simplify 2 squared. And we all know that 2 squared means 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4. Then we have m raised to 6. So our final answer is 4m raised to 6, or simply 4 times m raised to 6. Number 2, we have 5 squared times x squared squared. Okay? So first, copy the base 5, then multiply the exponent. So 5, then 2 times 2 is 4. That's why we have 5 raised to 4. Next, copy the base x, then multiply 2 times 2 is also 4. That's why we have x raised to 4. Then let us simplify 5 raised to 4, and that is 625. Then copy x raised to 4. That's why our final answer is 625 x to the fourth power. Okay? For more examples, let us simplify the following. Okay, so for number 1, we have a times a cubed times a to the fifth power times a to the seventh power. As you can see, we can apply the first law, which is the law for product. Okay, because there is multiplication. Okay, there is no parenthesis, and just multiplication as operation. So in this case, that is law for product. And we all know that in law for product, you have to copy the base or the same base, then add the exponents. Okay? So as you can see, all the bases are the same, which is a. Okay, so copy the base a, then add the exponents. As you can see, the exponent of this a is 1, then this one is 3, we have here 5, then we have here 7. So 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7 is a raised to 16. Then for number 2, as you can see, we have parentheses, and we have here outside or exponent outside the parentheses. In this case, we will apply, or we can apply the second law, which is the law for power of a power. Okay? Because there is no operation inside the parentheses. Okay? There is no operation inside the parentheses. So in this case, let's multiply based on the second law. We have to multiply the outer exponent and the exponent inside the parentheses. So copy the base a, then multiply 3 times 2. And the answer is a raised to the sixth power. Next, for number 3, we can apply the third law, which is the law for power of a product. Okay, because there is operation inside the parentheses, which is multiplication. Because this is a times b cubed times c squared. Okay, then we have exponent outside the parentheses. Okay, what are you going to do is to distribute the exponent outside the parentheses to the exponents inside the parentheses. So the exponent of a is 1. That's why we have 4 times 1 is 4. The exponent of b is 3. So 4 times 3 is 12. The exponent of c is 2. So 4 times 2 is 8. That's why we have here a to the 4th power times b to the 12th power times c to the 8th power. Okay? Then, for number 4, as you can see, in this case, we can apply the first law. Okay? Because as you can see, if we read this problem or this given, we have a to the 4th power times b to the 7th power times c to the second power times a cubed times b to the 4th power. Okay? So the operation is only multiplication. So let's apply the first law, and what are you going to do is to copy the same base, then add their exponents. Okay? So as you can see, we have here the same base, the same a. So copy that a, then add the exponents of a. So 4 plus 3 is 7. Okay? Then copy the base b, then add the exponent of b, we have 7 plus 4 is 11. Then, as you can see, there is no other to the base c on our given. So in this case, we just have to copy this. Okay, c squared. So let's copy c squared. So our final answer is a to the 7th power times b to the 11th power times c squared. Okay, so for the next example, let's have the quantity of a squared times b cubed times c squared, then cubed. Okay, so in this case, we can apply,
The third law, which is the power of a product.
okay, but in this case, so what are you going to do is to multiply this outside exponent to this exponent. So 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, so after combining this 2, so 3 times 2 is 6, we will multiply that answer or product, that 6, to the exponents inside the parentheses. So 6, suppose we have 6. 6 times 2 is 12 for the exponent of A. Then 6 times 3 is 18 for the exponent of B. And 6 times 2 is 12 for the exponent of C. Or simply, 3 times 2 is 6 times 2 is 12. 3 times 2 is 6 times 3 is 18. 3 times 2 is 6 times 2 is 12. Okay? That's why we have this answer. A raised to the 12th power times B raised to the 18th power times C raised to the 12th power. How are we going to multiply monomials? Okay, so for you to solve or to multiply monomials properly and correctly, you have to apply the laws of exponents. So for number 1, we have 2 times a squared times b times 3 times a times b squared. Okay, so for you to solve this, first, you have to multiply the constant or the numerical coefficient. So the numerical coefficient here is 2, then here is 3. That is 2 times 3. Then, let us multiply the same base, okay? Because we cannot multiply different bases, okay? So a squared times a, then b times b squared. We have here b times b squared. Then let us simplify them. We have 2 times 3 is 6. A squared times a, so apply the first law, which is add the exponent, okay? Applying the first law, law for product, you have to add the exponent. So 2 plus 1 is 3. That's why we have a cubed. Then here, let's apply the first law also. So we have 1 plus 2 is 3. That's why we have b cubed. So for number 1, the final answer is 6a cubed b cubed. Now let's have number 2, negative 5 times x squared times y squared times 3 times x cubed times y squared. Again, multiply the numerical coefficient. We have negative 5 and 3. So negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. Then we have x squared times x cubed. What are you going to do is copy the base x, then add the exponents. 2 plus 3 is 5. Next, y squared times y squared. That is y squared times y squared. So apply the first law. Let's add the exponents. We have y raised to 2 plus 2 is y to the 4th power. So for number 2, the answer is negative 15 times x to the fifth power times y to the fourth power. Now, let's find the product of the following. Okay, for number 1, let's have 2x or 2 times x times 5 times x times 6 times x. That's right. So 2 times 5 is 10 times 6 is 60. Then as you can see, we multiplied x 3 times. So x times x times x, or simply 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. That's why we have here 60 times x cubed. Okay? Next, for number 2, we don't have numerical coefficient. So let's proceed to multiplying the same bases. So or negative a, that is negative a. Then add the exponents of a, we have 1 plus 3 is 4 plus 1 is 5. That's why we have negative a raised to the fifth power. Then for letter b, or for the base b, we have 2 plus 2 is 4 plus 3 is 7. That's why we have b raised to the 7th power. So for number 2, we have negative a to the fifth power times b to the 7th power. Okay, number 3. Let's multiply the numerical coefficient. We have negative 22 times 4 is negative 88. Okay. Then to the base a, we have a to the fourth. As you can see, we don't have a here, or to the base a here. So let's copy a to the fourth. That's why we have here a to the fourth power. Okay. Then let's have, as you can see, we have here c and d. Okay, so let's simplify first the base c. Okay, so here we have c cubed, but here we don't have to the base c. So copy this one. So to the base c, which is c cubed. Okay, that's why we have here c cubed. Now let's proceed to the base d. D cubed times d to the fifth power. So add 3 plus 5 is 8. That's why we have d to the 8th power. So the final answer is negative 88 times a to the fourth power times c cubed times d to the 8th power. Okay? So in multiplying monomials, if there is numerical coefficient, you have to multiply it first. Okay? Then after that, you have to multiply the same variable wherein you have to add the exponents. Okay? Then if there is no same base or same variable on the given, all you have to do is to copy it on the final answer as we did on number 3. Okay? So for the next one, let's have multiplying polynomial by monomials. So let's have this example. Number 1, we have 4a squared. So this is the monomial times 3a plus 5. So for you to solve it, what are you going to do is to distribute this monomial to the polynomial inside the parentheses. And that is 4a squared times 3a. So 4 times 3 is 12. Then a squared times a is a cubed. Why? Because you have to add the exponent. So 2 plus 1 is 3. That's why we have a cubed. So we will be having 12a cubed. Okay, again, 4 times 3 is 12. Then copy the base a. Then add the exponent of a, we have 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay, 12a cubed. Next, we have 4a squared times 5. Okay, 4a squared times 5. So 4 times 5 is positive 20. So we will be having here positive 20. Okay? Then, as you can see, a squared, there is no a squared here besides 5. Therefore, we have to copy a squared on the answer. So, a squared. Okay? A squared besides 20 because 20 is from 4 times 5. Okay? So, that's it. Our answer is 12a cubed plus 20a squared. Okay? Why plus? Because 4 times 5 is positive 20. Okay? Positive 20. But if it is negative, therefore it will become minus. Okay? Next, we have 9y, that is our monomial, times 5y cubed minus 3y plus 5. Okay, as I said, you have to distribute the monomial to the polynomial inside the parentheses. Okay, so distributive property means multiplication. First, let's have 9y times 5y cubed. Okay, so 9 times 5 is 45. Then y times y cubed, you have to add the exponent. 1 plus 3 is 4. Okay? That's why we have 45y to the fourth power. Next, 9y times negative 3y. Okay, 9y times negative 3y. 9 times negative 3 is negative 27. That's why you have to put here negative 27. So negative 27. Then y times y, again, you have to add the exponent because they have the same base or bases. They have the same bases. So 1, the base of y, plus 1, the base of y, that is 2. So y squared. Okay, that's why we have negative 27 y squared as our second term. Next, 9y times 5. Okay, so 9 times 5 is positive 45. Then, as you can see, there is no y besides 5. Therefore, we have to copy y besides 45. Okay, so 45y. So our final answer for number 2 is 45y to the fourth power minus 27y to the second power plus 45y. Okay, so let's find the product of this. Negative 2m to the sixth power times 70 minus 30m minus 20m to the fourth power. Again, same process. You have to distribute the monomial. Okay? So, multiply, multiply, multiply. Negative 2 times 70 is negative 140. Then copy m to the sixth. Okay? Because there is no to the base m besides 70. Then negative 2 times negative 30, that is positive 60. That's why we have here plus 60. Then m to the sixth times m. So copy m, add the exponents. 6 plus 1 is 7. Next, negative 2 times negative 20 is positive 40. Then copy the base m. So we have here m. Then 6 plus 4 is 10. Okay? Then after that, you have to arrange this in order. Okay, how to arrange this? Based on the exponent of each term. Okay? So the first one the highest, should be with the highest exponent. Okay? So the highest exponent is 10. So our answer is 40m raised to 10 plus 60m raised to the 7th power minus 140 m to the 6th power. Okay? As you can see, the exponents are in decreasing order. Okay? 10, 7, 6. Okay, so let's practice your skills. I want you to find the product of the following. Okay, now I will reveal the answer. For number one, we have, okay, same process. You have to distribute the monomial. Okay? Next, for number two, and for number three, okay, kindly check your work. So it is truly important for you or for us to follow laws of exponents. So following the laws of exponents is important as following the laws and rules in school and community for us to come up with the right outcome or the correct outcome.
That's all for this day. Thank you so much and God bless you all.